Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 61 of Brat Said That. I'm your host, Brad Jackson, along with my co-producer, Chad LGBT. We hope everybody's having a great weekend. It is a late night Bratterday edition of Brat Said That. And let me tell you, it is an eventful Saturday night. We have the MVP card. We have UFC that just ended. We have hockey. We have baseball. We have chicken nuggets and macaroni and cheese. We're having a great night as a sports fan. It's so much going on. And if you haven't noticed, I got a haircut. Yes, I trimmed. I buzzed it off. I told babe, it's too hot out there in this Vegas heat. Buzz off my hair, and she did. She's amazing. She's great. But yeah, we have so much to talk about. We're gonna talk about SmackDown. We're gonna talk about the MVP card that is happening because right now, let me get to the Netflix. We have Carano versus Rousey already. Not yet. They're still talking. We'll talk about the UFC product. We're talking about this MVP card. We have so much to talk about. It's going to be a late night for us. We're excited. Oh, that's Kat Zagano. If you look and see that door, we're going to talk about that door. But let's see. Let's just make sure I'm live. We haven't done that in a while. You know, I've always led my, always said that I don't know what I'm talking about right now. But hey, we are live. The main event of the MVP card is going to start very soon. Ronda Rousey. I met her once. Good old friend Ronda. She's going to face Gina Carano in a fight. This whole fight card has been great, but we're going to get to that. We do always, even if we're talking about the MVP card, have to start off on SmackDown in the squared circle because that's how we start the show. I think that gets the most, the most views and outreaches. Wrestling, because I love wrestling more than I love really anything else in the world besides Babe and the Dogs. But SmackDown last night, we got it. Good SmackDown, okay? So, Trick Williams, he is homecoming, but the Miz crashed out. He's like, I don't want to be in South Carolina. South Carolina's awesome. Those two had a wrestling match. Trick Williams won. A-lister, bada bada boom, kendo stick. And then Brie Bella and Paige took on Julia and Gianna James, non-title match. You know, it's good to see Paige back. It's good to see Brie back. But what do they call it? They're called Scream Mode. Scream Mode. No, I don't make up the names. And then something I really was interested in, Gunther came out, and then Royce Keys came out. And they're like, Royce Keys like, you want to face Cody Rhodes? You got to beat me. And Gunther's like, okay, whatever, bro. Clash in Italy contract with the undisputed champion. Royce Keys arrives to throw a wrench in the General's plans. That happens later at night. Carmella Hayes versus Ricky Saints. I got home in time to watch this. Yeah, it's good. You know, everybody's talking, Carmelo might have won and Ricky Saints might have lost. And like, oh, look at Ricky Saints. He's losing now that he's not in AEW. Stop it, okay? He's going to get to that point where he's going to win and become title champion and give him some time, okay? We don't need everything to be right now. So, it's okay. So, Carmelo won, and then Damian Priest defeated Tama Tonga. I don't know, what are you doing today, Tama Tonga? Nothing? Damian Priest, what are you doing tonight? Nothing? All right, how about you two wrestle? That's about it. Soda Sikoa came out, Tama Tonga, the Archer and Infamy, they're, SmackDown. Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss enter out of Jade Cargill's return. She came out. She's like, I might have lost, but I'm still the champ. But then I'm like, Rhea's a champ. What has Rhea done since winning back that championship? Not much. Not much, I gotta say. But, me, Shannon B, Fab are still with Jade Cargill. And obviously Charlotte and Alexa got that win. Then Gunther defeated Royce Keys to become the number one contender. To Cody Rhodes, undisputed WWE Championship. Those two will meet at Clash in Italy. And Royce Keys, little interrupted by Solo Sikoa. So I think we're going to have Royce Keys versus Solo Sikoa in the future. Good match. I'm looking forward to that. Right now, okay, so we're going to go back to the UFC, or not UFC, the Netflix MVP card. Tell of the Bet Decision, Ronda, plus 1,200. Submission, minus 250. KO, TKO, DQ, plus 400. For Gina Carano, plus 2,500 decision, plus 2,200 submission, plus 650 TKO, KO, and DQ. So, Gina Carano is the underdog in this fight, but we're gonna bounce back and forth tonight. This is gonna be like an unsanctioned Brat said that, because, you know, I have no more hair. But Saturday night's main event is next week. I'm excited. It's gonna fall on May 23rd, which we are gonna have a show all dedicated to Owen Hart. Every single ounce of that show is gonna be about Owen Hart. But we talked about Penta versus Ethan Page for the Intercontinental Championship. That's going to be good. World Tag Team Championship. Logan, Austin, The Vision, taking on Angela Montez, the Street Profits, and a 6-woman tag team match. Rhea, Charlotte, and Alexa versus Jade Cargill, Misha, and B-Fab. So, not too bad. Not too shabby of a card. Nothing really else. Oh, my ear just popped. Nothing really else. Saturday night's main event. It's going to be good. As long as it's not wrestling or commercial night main event with some wrestling in between, because sometimes there's a very commercial heavy. But, you know, AEW is having their Double or Nothing. They just released a shirt with a bald MJF. And, you know, I think that's what's going to happen. I don't see them taking the title off of Darby just yet. So I think MJF is going to lose his hair. We talked about the card last week. Nothing else changed. But we haven't talked about, you know, they're going to do the Owen Hart tournament. Samoa Joe versus Will Ospreay. Bandito versus Swerve. Will versus Alex Windsor. And that's it. All right, why is there 3 matches out of it? There should be 4, but yeah, it's gonna be, you know, their biggest show of the year. I'm excited. I don't watch AEW, but I will follow it. Because right now, I don't know. We're going back and forth between wrestling and this, all this MVP card. But we do have to break some news. I'm not breaking this news. I wish I could break this news. We're just going to instantly talk about MMA. This is going to be an MMA heavy event, MMA show. It is official. Conor McGregor is returning in July to take on Max Holloway for the second time. Yes, Conor, first fight in over 5 years, or almost 5 years. He is coming back. It is official. We've all talked about it. We've all speculated. The non-stop, what's Conor doing? Is Conor going to come back? Conor. Well, guess what? He's coming back July 11th, just down the street at T-Mobile Arena. And I'll tell you, the card is muy bonito. Very, very good card. Main event, welterweight bout. The welterweight, not 155, not 145, 170-pound Conor McGregor versus Max Holloway in the main event. They fought all the way back. Keep going. In 2013, with McGregor getting that unanimous decision win. But, you know, Max Holloway is a different fighter. Conor has been out of the game for 5 years. So that's going to be something. Plus, in the co-main event, Paddy the Baddy Pimplett is going to take on Benoit Saint Denis. You have Gabe Stevenson making his UFC debut. He's taking on Elias Ellison. Brandon Royval is taking on Loner Kavanaugh. And then there was another fight that I don't see. Cody Garbrandt, former UFC bantamweight champion, taking on Adrian Yanez. Robert Whittaker going to 205, taking on Nikita Krylov. Wow, what a card. Yes, the bantamweight match, Corey Sandhagen versus Mario Batista. I wish I could get tickets to this, but I know tickets are going to be thousands of dollars. And why are they making another Masters of the Universe movie? Netflix. But I didn't want to talk about, before we get to the UFC card and before we get to the MVP card, I didn't want to talk about Conor McGregor. Who is Conor McGregor? Why does Conor McGregor get such a impact in MMA? Well, we're going to start off not from his early days fighting in Ireland, you know, making peanuts and, you know, whatever the Ireland currency is. He made his debut 2013, April 6th in Stockholm, Sweden, with a TKO win over Marcus Brimage. This was before the Conor McGregor, obviously we know, the tattoo, the Vince McMahon strut, which I don't care what you say. You can say what you want. Don't call it the Conor McGregor. It's the Vince McMahon. So he had a huge win, 1 minute and 7 seconds over Marcus Brimage, and he was like, Dana, 50 G's. I mean, this guy spends 50 G's, ordering DoorDash. So money, obviously, to him back then was obviously a big deal. Then, like we said, he faced Max Holloway that August in Boston, won by unanimous decision, went on, had his first main event in Dublin. This is 2 fights in, and he's already main eventing not only on a card against a tough dude like Diego Brandao, but in his hometown of Dublin. A huge win, first round TKO. Then he goes on to a fight that I thought he was going to lose. I honestly did. Dustin Poirier, September, UFC 178. I remember watching it at Buffalo Wild Wings, and he just went through Dustin, 1 minute and 1:46. Wow. And then really, I think this might have been his breakout, his Conor McGregor fight. Dennis Seaver, main event in Boston, second round finish. Just, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fights, gets a title shot. And this is when I'm like, okay, let's see if this guy is really what he says. He was supposed to face Aldo, UFC 189 for the UFC Featherweight Championship. Aldo had a backup, and Chad Mendes took that fight on short notice. And yes, Chad, he has wrestling. He has skills. He was kind of 2 weeks off the couch, but no excuses. Conor ran through him within the 3 rounds, defeated him 4 minutes and 57 seconds in the second round, and made him the interim UFC Featherweight Champion. So right now, Conor's whole Conor McGregor, with everything you know him, he is there. He is the interim UFC Featherweight Champion. He's about to face Jose Aldo, and I'm like, that's it. Aldo's going to just knock his head off. Conor, the hype train is over. Enough is enough. And that was it. 13 seconds it took Conor McGregor to defeat Jose Aldo to become the undisputed UFC Featherweight Champion. Wow. I remember watching this with the buddies, and I got up, I turned around, and I just see, doink, Aldo down. Now, I was a Conor hater back in the day, and I'm like, Aldo would have beat him 9 out of 10 times, and I still think that. I still think Aldo rushed in. Conor got, not a lucky shot because Conor's very skilled, but definitely wow, that was over quick. It's like Doctor Strange, he sees 10,000 different possibilities, and the one that's reality is the one that happened. So, but 19-2 coming into the UFC Featherweight Champion. But then this is where everything kind of started going a little too crazy for me, okay? But one of my favorite fights of all time, UFC 196, March 5th, 2016, he went up to welterweight to face Nate Diaz. Oh, by the way, Conor was later stripped of the title due to inactivity, which doesn't. If Conor would have stayed at 145, he would still be one of the greatest featherweight champions of all time. But he faced Nate Diaz, UFC 196. I was there. I was on my brother's couch. I love Nate Diaz. We're going to talk about Nate in just 1 second. And Nate did the impossible, choked out Conor McGregor in the second round, fight of the night. And then that whole Conor just, it was just one of the biggest upsets of all time. I never thought it was an upset. I thought Nate was going to do it. Nate did it. They had the rematch at UFC 202 in August 2016. Majority decision, which is kind of bullshit. I'll be honest. I don't think he won that fight. But then he went on November 2016, UFC 205, New York City, Madison Square Garden against Eddie Alvarez for the UFC Lightweight Championship. And I won't ever take anything away from Conor McGregor. That man put on a masterclass performance. An absolutely perfect performance. Hey, what happened to my TV back there? Whatever. You get this screen now. A master performance, knocks out Eddie in the second round, becomes a UFC lightweight champion, and oh my God, what a fight. What a fight from Conor. But then now he wants to go boxing. In 2017, takes on Floyd Money Mayweather in a boxing match the whole world was talking about. August 26, 2017. He should have stayed in the UFC. Should have never fought Floyd. Lost by a 10th round TKO, but still made more money than I can ever imagine. Came back to the UFC to face Khabib Nurmagomedov for the UFC lightweight champion. Oh, by the way, he was later stripped of the UFC lightweight championship for inactivity. But then he faced Khabib, and Khabib, to some, is the greatest fighter of all time, is the greatest UFC lightweight champion of all time. Khabib choked out Conor in the 4th round, and then jumped into the crowd and started beating up Dylan Dennis. But before that, let's talk about Conor's personal life. Let's talk about some of his, he's got charges in a controversy section on Wikipedia. So we can talk about the bus attack, UFC 223 Media Day, April 3rd, 2018. Khabib entourage cornered and slapped Artem Lobov, his former training partner of Conor. Conor heard that, was like, I'm coming, headed all the way from Ireland to New York, and him and about 20 other of his goons, not my words, surrounded the bus that not only was Khabib on, Rose Namajunas, Al Iaquinta, Carolina, I can't pronounce that name. There's a lot of E's and Q's and Z's in there. Ray Borg and Michael Chiesa was on. He threw a dolly through the bus window, cut up Ray Borg, cut up Michael Chiesa, made Rose Namajunas cry, and was like, hey, that was crazy. $50,000 bill, and he got sued. He got sued on September. Just the whole bad incident for Conor McGregor. Let me just see what's going on. Oh, okay. So we're gonna keep finishing to talk about Conor. I'm gonna put the Conor incidents right here, but they aren't introducing Ronda Rousey right now. Then that incident, UFC 229, Khabib chokes out Conor, and then Khabib yeets himself in the crowd. He fights Dylan Dennis, and then Khabib's team jumps over the octagon, starts beating up, throwing punches at Conor. You can't beat up Conor McGregor. The Nevada State Athletic Commission was like, what is going on? That's like inside the cage. Outside the cage, 2019 Dublin assault. I think he punched an old man. Attack on somebody in a nightclub. Attack on a yacht. Punching the Miami Heat mascot that literally is part of Conor's Wikipedia. On June 10th, 2023, McGregor appeared at Game 4 of the 2023 NBA Finals and punched the mascot Bernie. Then a little more heavy stuff that I don't want to get into. But, yeah. But, okay, the fight's about to start. I'm sorry. Rousey already goes for the takedown. It mounted Carano. Carano's got oh, God, it's over. It's over. Rousey's got it. There goes the armbar. It's over in 15 seconds. Rousey defeated Gina Carano in 15 seconds. The fight is over. Rousey, go for a takedown. I don't want to get it copywritten, so I'm going to... Rousey, go for a takedown. Submitted Carano in 15 seconds. Holy shit. Well, I guess we don't have to watch for that. Oh, wow. That is... And they're crying like they did something. Okay. Anyway, back to Conor. After that, UFC debacle with Khabib. Jesus Christ, 15 seconds. I'm just blown away by that. 15 seconds. Came back, defeated Donald Cerrone in 40 seconds in January 2020. Then he took on Dustin Poirier. And it's kind of weird because Dustin Poirier and him were like friends this time. Like, hey, we're going to fight. We're friends. Lost by TKO punches. Second round, 232 in Abu Dhabi. This is during COVID speak. And then July 2021, doctor stoppage and another rematch, third match against Dustin Poirier. Loses by doctor stoppage, breaks his ankle. But I did watch that fight a couple of times. Conor was landing. Conor was looking good. But that's it for Conor. We have not seen him since July 10, 2021. He is coming back July 11th, 2026. So literally 5 years later. But wow. Rousey defeated Gina Carano in 15 seconds. That's it. Wow. Oh my Lord. But I guess let's talk about that card now that it's over. It was a really good card. It was. I did enjoy it. Anything a little different than UFC is, always welcome. The look was different. The production was different. The sound was different. It had a Mauro Ranallo, who was like legendary announcer from Pride, Strikeforce. She defeated Carano in 17 seconds. Ronda Rousey. And then my boy Nate Diaz, my favorite fighter of all time. Literally of all time. I've watched this man fight since 2007. Doctor stoppage, second round against Mike Perry, loss. You're not gonna knock out Diaz. You're not gonna submit him. When you watch a Diaz fight, he's got the whatever it's called. He just gets busted open easily. All that tough skin. I don't remember what you call it. Mike Perry was looking good, but yeah, Diaz with a loss. Still one of my favorites. Always will support Diaz. Francis Ngannou defeated Philip Lin's first round, 4 minutes, 31 seconds. Ngannou's back. Called out John Jones, who was there. So if they want to take this to the next step, make Ngannou versus Jones. The whole world will watch that. Do it July 11th, too. Go combat with the UFC. I would love that. If you put Ngannou versus Jones July 11th, MVP card, against Conor McGregor's return, yeah, it would be great for the UFC. It would be great for the MVP. It would be great for me because I got to talk about it. And the lightweight bout, which our co-producer ChatGPT is very happy because his Frenchman, Saladin Parnassi, defeated Kenneth Cross TKO punches first round 4-18. So, hey, bonjour to him. And tough to watch. Junior Dos Santos got knocked out once again by Robelis de Pani in 2 minutes, 59 seconds in the first round. Very, very tough to watch that. But, yeah, we can listen to the announcer. Let's listen to it. Let's go.
Our referee, Big John McCarthy, calls a stop to this contest at 17 seconds.
17 seconds.
Declaring your winner.
Wait, why do I put this on? Wow, I can't get that open. 17 seconds. Insane. Imagine spending all that money to watch Ronda armbar somebody in 17 seconds. But, it was a good card. You got Ara Harwani there. You got a different, Intuit Dome in Inglewood, California. So, it was a good card. It was a really good card. Undercard was good too. Everything, I liked it. It was different. It was a good feel to it. So, I am looking forward to the next MVP card, MMA. This is their first MMA card. They did a bunch of boxing. It's the same company that does, all that Jake Paul stuff and, Mike Tyson. And so, if I would love to see them do Francis Ngannou versus John Jones, but yeah, that was not only the only fight card on tonight. UFC Fight Night, Allen versus Costa happened in the Apex, and Arnold Allen defeated Mel Costa by unanimous decision 50-45, 50-45, 49-46 to snap his 3-fight losing streak. He needed that win very, very bad. He lost 3 out of the last 4. So he bounced back for a good win. And this ended Costa's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fight win streak. I hate when my computer gets like this. I need it. Hello. Well, once it fixes itself, we can talk more about the show. But yeah, these Apex cards, they need to stop. They need to get out of the Apex. I'm turning off the Netflix because there's nothing more to talk about. But yeah. Oh, by the way, submission of the year. Let's talk about it. Alice Ardalan defeated Polyana Viana, submission ankle lock. So Polyana had her in her guard like this, right? And then this is Polyana, and this is Alice. Okay, Polyana had the body triangle, and then Alice took her arm and started crunching on Polyana's leg. Polyana tapped. Crazy submission win. Never seen that in UFC. Oh, by the way, fight of the night: Choi Diho Choi versus Daniel Santos, and Juan Diaz and Alice, as you said, get the performance of the night. Juan Diaz won with a submission rear naked choke. So yeah, the next fight card is let's see. Okay, we're gonna have to wait a week. No fight on May 23rd, but Song Yadong will take on Davison Figueiredo in China. So that's gonna happen May 30th, next Saturday. So we're gonna look forward to that. But UFC 329 we talked about already. The Carano Rousey fight. Carano submitted in just 17 seconds. Wow. I don't know what to say. We can go to the Twitter and look at what people are saying. I'm sure people are like, oh my God, you get paid all that money to just get armbarred in 17 seconds. Let's see if I get any notifications. But yeah. Wow, everybody's talking about Conor, everybody's talking about Ronda now in 17 seconds. Wow, insane, absolutely insane. The fight card looks insane. I really want to see more, different than UFC. So, but yeah, let's just move it on. Let's move it on. We talked all about wrestling. TNA had a show. By the way, we have a new X Division champion. This kind of annoyed me. Not anything about it, because I'm a big fan of Cedric Alexander, who won the TNA X Division championship. But the longest reigning champion of all time was Austin Aries at 298 days. Leon Slater lost the championship on his 290th day. Like, why don't you have him just break the championship? Especially with Austin Aries' history with the company. But congrats to Cedric Alexander. Oh, by the way, I want a little shout out to not a shout out, but Marty Jannetty, the legendary tag team partner of Shawn Michaels, or he had his foot amputated. So, it kind of sucks because, he is the Jannetty, which if you don't know what the Jannetty is a term pro wrestling uses for a tag team that when they split up and move on, the least successful one is a Jannetty. So, obviously Shawn Michaels went on to be Mr. WrestleMania, Hall of Famer, multi-time everything champion. Jannetty kind of came in and out, getting fired a bunch. That's why he is the Jannetty. But, having his foot amputated, hopefully, I met him. He is not 5'11". That's for damn sure. No way, because I met him. He was not 5'11". But, I lied about my height too sometimes. But we're going to move on. We're going to talk about baseball. You know, baseball has been baseballing, but we're going to talk about the injury news because some injury bugs are hurting some teams. Blake Snell out with the elbow injury. Clay Holmes fractured fibula. Max Fried on my fantasy team. Yankees IL with an elbow bruise. Francisco Lindor calf strain. Cody Senga lumbar inflammation. Tariq Skubal, we talked about a couple weeks ago, elbow issue, and Byron Baxton hip injury day to day. So, yeah, that is, I've been, checking baseball. They're having their rivalry week. Yankees and Mets, the Subway Series, the Giants and Athletics, Dodgers and Angels, Cubs and the White Sox. By the way, Murakami is just absolutely insane. He is turning not only this team around, but his franchise around. So I was thinking about this too because when I was watching the MVP card, it's coming in July, the home run derby. I'm like, Murakami should definitely go be in the home run derby. How the fuck do you get this open, by the way? I've been like an asshole for 2 hours trying to get this fucking thing open. I got this because of this show. I'm really thirsty, and this is really annoying me that I cannot get this open. Babe, can you open this jar for me? But yeah. But let's move on. NBA, the conference championships are almost here. The Thunder swept the Lakers. We talked about that 4-0. Spurs defeated the Timberwolves 4-2. So we knew it was going to happen. You knew it was going to come down to this. It's going to be the Spurs versus the Thunder in the Western Conference Championship. And in the Eastern Conference, we talked about the Knicks sweeping the 76ers. But the Cavaliers and the Pistons are going to Game 7. Yes, back and forth. Cavaliers and Pistons tied up 3-3. The winner will face the Knicks. I am picking the Knicks in the Eastern Conference and the Spurs in the Western Conference. I think the Spurs get it done. A lot of people are like, oh, Wemby should have been suspended or thrown out. It was a tough, ending. But, yeah, Spurs versus Thunder, that was going to be the Western Conference Championship no matter what. In the NHL, though, Colorado defeated Minnesota. VKG defeated Anaheim, so we got VKG Golden Knights versus the Colorado Avalanche. Two of my favorite teams. I love all my children, so I'm just going to enjoy that. Whoever goes on, obviously Golden Knights would be better for me since I live 10 minutes from the stadium, arena. But Montreal and the Buffalo Sabres, a.k.a. the Buffalo Sabres, are going to a Game 7 after the Sabres won today 8-3. Jeez, 8 goals. That's a lot of goals. We're going to Game 7 Monday. We're going to talk about that on Tuesday's show because we'll be back on the 19th of May. And so it's going to be Carolina versus either Montreal or Buffalo in the Eastern Conference Championship and Colorado versus VKG. VGK for the Western Conference Championship. By the way, the Vegas Golden Knights were like, we just won. We're not going to talk to any of the media. Goodbye. We're going home. And then the NHL was like, that's kind of messed up. We're mad at you. You're fined money, and we're going to take away a pick from you on next year's draft. Ouch. I'm only here because I don't get fined. Gets fined anyway. But yeah, I'm looking forward to any of the hockey. But we got to move on. We're going to talk about the NFL because the NFL released their schedules. And it's like every year every team does their own little schedule release, videos. It's funny. The Raiders, though, let's take a look at the Raiders schedule, which is kind of messed up because they, along with the Cardinals, Jets, Dolphins, and somebody else, have no primetime games. No Thursday night football, no Monday night football. I would like to see Mendoza in primetime, but not this year. But we're going to look at the Raiders' 2026 schedule. Or was it technically 2027? Okay, so they're opening the season Allegiant Stadium against the Miami Dolphins. That's a win. Then they're going to go week 2, SoFi Stadium for the Chargers. Week 3, Caesars Superdome, New Orleans Saints. That's a win. Then back to Allegiant Stadium to face the Kansas City Chiefs. Week 5, New England Patriots, Gillette Stadium. Then back-to-back Bills and Rams. Then they go to MetLife Stadium against the Jets. That's a win for November 1st, Week 8. Then they go all the way across the country back to Levi Stadium to face on the San Francisco 49ers and Seattle in Week 10. And then they go to Denver, Week 11, Cleveland Browns, Week 12, and a bye. Then they home for 3 weeks, the Chargers, Broncos, and Titans. And then they will face Arizona Cardinals and Week 17 and 18. They end it with the Kansas City Chiefs. So, if we look, possibly, if I use my brain, I can see us winning against the Dolphins, the Saints, the Jets, the Browns, the Titans, and Cardinals. So, 6-11, I'll be realistic. If Patrick Mahomes does not return by week 4, I can see us beating the Chiefs. I don't see maybe the Chargers with a win, but I don't really see anything else. Yeah, so I'm saying 6-11. So there was like this one bracket that I saw where it's like too early NFL playoffs, which I was like that's too early. Like we're not gonna talk about that. But they had the Broncos number 1 seed. I do remember that. But speaking about too old and too early. Oh, by the way, Pats and Seahawks are kicking off the 26th season, and Aaron Rodgers will return to the Steelers for a 1-year deal. This is going to be his 22nd year. I guess the Steelers are desperate, and they're going to A-Rod. You done messed up, A-Rod. Yeah. But, hey, we did miss this too. The Preakness Stakes was today. Yeah, we talked about the last horse race, But Preakness was today, and the winner was the 8-1 Napoleon Solo. Yes, Napoleon Solo was the winning horse. And then Iron Honor, Chip Honcho. But our horse from last time wasn't in it. What was what is it? It's the Kentucky Derby. Yes, obviously the Kentucky Derby. We talked about the Kentucky Derby. Kentucky Derby was won by, who do we have last time? Golden Tempo. And we took, Chief Wallaby. Yes, Chief Wallaby. But he's not in that. Next leg of the Triple Crown is going to be Belmont Stakes, June 6th. So we'll talk about that. We'll remember that. I guess every 2 weeks, which makes sense. Or 3 weeks, whatever. We talked about FIFA, June 11th, go Team USA. PGA Championship, though. I don't know too much about the PGA Championship. I know, NASCAR's coming, so we're going to have to talk about NASCAR soon. But right now, with a -6 lead, is Alex Smalley, 78th in PGA Tour. But he's doing good. He's in first place. Ludwig Aberg from Sweden is in second place, and John Ram, who is Spanish, he is in third place. So, our buddy, Hideki Matsui, he is, where did he go? He was just there. All right, he's gone. He was tied for 11th, so, whatever. But that is the PGA Championship, and we're going to end the show somewhat soon because, it's getting late. We got neighbors. But I do want to talk about somebody who recently passed away, Donald Gibb. If you know who that is, I'm going to tell you who that is. He is the man from Revenge of the Nerds, Ogre. He was in Bloodsport, both Bloodsports. He was in a bunch of movies. He's the one that's sitting in the locker room. It's like, nerds, died from complications of throat cancer at his home in Texas at the age of 71. So, prayers to him. It's so sad, But yeah, he was like the big guy, Let's see. Was an American actor best known for his roles as a hulking, dim-witted fraternity brother Frederick Ogre Pawlowski in several installments of Revenge of the Nerds, and also as Cuban fighter Ray Jackson, no relation, in Bloodsport and as Leslie Dr. Death Kushner on HBO sitcom First and 10. So, yeah. That sucks. But we do got to talk about one thing before we get off. We're going to talk a huge about this because this is my favorite television show. The Big Bang Theory, yes, if you see that door at the beginning of the episode, it is the door to the elevator that Sheldon and Leonard blew up. I don't even want to say in what season because it was before, they were roommates or right after they were roommates. If you don't know Big Bang Theory, it is all about Sheldon Cooper, Leonard Hofstadter. They are just physicists from Pasadena, California, and they share an apartment. Across the hall is Penny, who I am going to say my dog is named after, a waitress and aspiring actress who lives across the hall. Then you have Howard Wolowitz, the mom-loving not frat boy, but horn dog of the group. Then Rajesh Kuthapali, who's a quiet Indian. And, they just go on these adventures, and they're just a bunch of nerds and stuff. They meet, it ran from September 24th, 2007 to May 16th, 2019. Thus why I'm doing it, because it is May 16th, 2026. So really, they're the physicists, Leonard and Sheldon. They move in together, and then they meet, Leonard's there first, and he meets Raj and Howard at the university, and then Sheldon. Sheldon, they're all a bunch of nerds. And then Penny moves across the street, and Leonard's like, I'm going to have her babies. They're going to be beautiful and smart. And they just go on. And then Amy Fowler comes in later seasons to become Sheldon's love interest and future wife. Then you have Bernadette Rothkowski, which is Howard's wife. And then they have Howard's mom. It's like, Howard, what's for dinner? Right? And it's so honorable because the lady who voiced Howard's mom passed away, and they were like, we're not going to do that character anymore. So, Johnny Galecki, as you know, he is, he's one of the main characters. You know him from Roseanne. I think he was in Blossom too. Dungeons and Dragons, kind of like, the straight man to Sheldon's craziness. Sheldon Cooper, played by Jim Parsons. Jim Parsons is an absolute phenomenal actor. Also, it did spring off a few, what is it called? Spinoffs. Young Sheldon, which I love. George and Mandy's First Marriage, which I'm kind of paying attention to. But just Jim Parsons as Sheldon Cooper is one of my favorite characters of all time. The things he says, bazinga, just his quirks and his quirks and just his lack of knowing sarcasm. Callie Cuoco as Penny. She's the tough girl from Nebraska who's the, she comes over and hangs out, kind of eats their food, and, is a love interest to Leonard. And she's, it's just, those three are just such a great chemistry. Then, Simon Helberg is Howard Wolowitz. He's the engineer. He's not the, it's cute because it's Dr. Hofstadter, Dr. Cooper, Dr. Kuthapali, and it's Mr. Wolowitz. He's a very Jewish man that loves his mother. He doesn't hold a doctorate. He's an astronaut. He goes into space for a couple episodes later in the series. He marries Bernadette, and it's just cute, Then you got Raj, who can't talk to women unless he's drunk until later episodes. Loves his dog Cinnamon. What is that called? Hopeless romantic. Goes on dates. Never found the one. Never found his Penny. Never found his Bernadette. But he goes on a bunch of dates. He does have the love of his life. His Yorkshire Terrier Cinnamon. Who, it's like, who said it? Is it Emily or is it Cinnamon? Then you got, throughout the series, you got Maya Bialik as Amy Fowler, who I'm glad that she's not as robotic as she was earlier in the series. She eventually ends up marrying Sheldon, and they win the Nobel Prize, which the whole series is pretty much them I'm going to win the Nobel Prize one day. I'm going to win the Nobel Prize one day. And they eventually do. It's one of the last episodes where they go to Sweden. And you find out that Penny is pregnant with Leonard's baby. In a really cute moment. Melissa Rauch as Bernadette Rathkowski-Wolowitz. She met Penny when she was working in the Cheesecake Factory. Fell in love with Howard. And now she's a microbiologist. She has a short fuse and can be vindicative and lash out when provoked. Absolutely adorable of a human being. Sorry, babe. But then you have these recurring characters like Stuart. We talked about the spinoffs. Has a spinoff coming on HBO Max. Stuart Fails to Save the Universe. He's played by Kevin Sussman. And then you have a bunch of other characters. I do want to get into like let's get some franchise characters because there's a lot. You know, we have Leonard Sheldon, Penny, Howard Raj, Leslie Winkle. She was played by Sarah Gilbert in the earlier seasons. She's like one of Leonard's love interests. It's kind of cute because they play in Roseanne together. Stuart, like we talked about, owns the comic book store that the guys frequent. Mary Cooper, Laurie Metcalf, who is just Mary Cooper is a religious nut, lack of better terms. Sheldon's mom, and it's just all about Jesus. She's played by Laurie Metcalf in The Big Bang Theory, and her daughter Zoe Perry in Young Sheldon. Then you got I don't want to talk about that just yet. Let's see, because they're trying to go like. Then you got Barry Kripke, who is played by John Ross Bowie. He's going to return at Stuart Fails to Save the Universe as a main character. He's like Sheldon's what is it called? Sheldon's arch nemesis. There you go. But yeah, Leonard Sheldon. We got Penny, who doesn't have a last name. Raj, Leslie Winkle, Bernadette, Amy Fowler, Stuart. And then young Sheldon, I guess we'll talk about Mary Cooper, played by Laurie Metcalf in The Big Bang Theory, and her daughter Zoe Perry. George Cooper Sr., Lance Barber. He's one of those great TV dads. Like, in The Big Bang Theory, he's portrayed as like this redneck drunk that like shoots squirrels and stuff. But in young Sheldon, he's a loving dad who passes away too young. But, very emotional moment. Then Georgie Cooper, which is Sheldon's older brother, who is still doing things. Montana Jordan, he's doing young Sheldon and Mandy's first marriage. Georgie gets Mandy knocked up when he was only 17 or 18, excuse me, politically correct. Yep. And then Missy Cooper, who is Sheldon's twin sister, who doesn't have any of the brain, and but she's she takes her dad's death very hard. By Courtney Hengel, Reagan Rayford as a child. Then you have Mima, who is played by June Squibb in The Big Bang Theory, and Annie Potts in Young Sheldon. She is just Mary's mother, George Sr.'s mother-in-law. Calls Sheldon his moon pie. Pastor Jeff, who is a pastor in Sheldon's family, the community. Mandy, who is Emily Osment, who is Georgie's wife. And then, it just got so many great characters. And let's not even talk about the guest stars, too. Like, let's see. Sean Astin. Kathy Bates as Mrs. Fowler. Amy Fowler's mother. LeVar Burton. Keith Carradine, who is Penny's father. You got Nathan Fillion, who, as you know, I love The Rookie. Carrie Fisher, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Mark Hamill was in there, James L. Jones, Christopher Lloyd, Leonard Nimoy. Like, these guys just appeared. You even have Charlie Sheen, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Kevin Smith, an idol of mine. You had Rick Fox, Buzz Aldrin. You even had Elon Musk, Bill Gates, and Steve Wozniak. What a threesome that is. And just some of these just amazing episodes. So it ends with, Sheldon and Amy Sheldon finally gets his Nobel Prize, and as he's going to make his speech, the speech he's been wanting to make all about himself all his life, he realizes his friends were there for him no matter what, and thanks every single one of them. It was such cute. I cried. I did. I'll do it. I'll be honest. They made bank. I'll be honest with you. They made that friend's money. A lot of money. I think $1 million per episode for Galecki, Parsons, and Kuko. So, damn. Leonard and Penny had a crazy relationship. Willie Wintley. They break up. Soft kitty is what they sing. Soft kitty, warm kitty, little ball of fur. We talked about the apartment building elevator. So when Leonard and Sheldon first meet, Leonard's doing an experiment with Raj and Howard, and Sheldon's like, it's not going to work. And Leonard's like, it is going to work. And it starts smoking, and then Leonard is like, oh no, we got to go. So they put the experiment in the elevator, and Sheldon's like, get out, Leonard. And they close the door, and it explodes. So, it was just a great series. I miss it. I miss shows like that. Like I said, I've said this many, many, many times. TV shows need like I said, Sons of Anarchy. You knew it was going to air in September. It was going to end in December. This aired every single September from 2007 and ended every single May. So it just had a strict schedule, and I love that. And they've had spin-offs, like I said, Young Sheldon, which is great. I love that the character who plays Young Sheldon, Ian Artemis, looks just like Jim Parsons. I don't know what they did, but and then George and Mandy's first marriage. I've kind of watched a few episodes of that. Stewart, Felt Save the Universe. That's going to premiere. When is that going to premiere? That's going to premiere just not too long from now, July. So we got that. So before we go, man, I just want to look at Twitter and just see what they're saying. Per MMA Junkie, the disclosed purses from the fighters on the Rousey-Corrado fight card. Ronda made $2.2 million. Gina, 1.5. Nate, 500K. Mike Perry, 400K. Francis, 1.5 million. Philip leads 100,000. Jesus. But, yeah, so that is insane. This is just a late night show. I just kind of chill. Nothing really a lot of everything major has happened, but we're going to do a quick recap of the show. I do appreciate everybody for, popping in, saying hi. Follow me, definitely, follow me. Watch the show. I love you all. But Brat said that. Episode 61 is in the books. Saturday night's main event's coming up next week. AEW MJF versus Darby Allin, hair versus title. We just saw Ronda Rousey submit Gina Carano in 17 seconds. UFC Allen versus Costa, get out of the Apex. And the notorious Conor McGregor is returning in July. I can't wait. MLB, the injury bug is plaguing, but, we're still a long ways away. NBA playoffs, we got one spot left between the Cavaliers and Pistons, who are going to take on the Knicks. Thunder and Spurs in the Western Conference Finals. NHL, same thing. Colorado, VGK. I should know how to say that. I live here. They're in the Western Conference Championship. Carolina versus either Montreal or Buffalo. We'll find out Monday. NFL, the schedule release. We looked at the Raiders. Aaron Rodgers coming back. What we do? Belmont Stakes, June 6th. We'll talk about that. FIFA coming up next month. PGA Championship. And rest in peace, Don Gibb. And Bazinga. Alright, guys. I'm going to get off. I'm going to go hang out with Babe and the dogs. And, follow me on Twitter, BratSaidThatX. Instagram, Brat Jackson. YouTube, BratSaidThatTube. And Spotify, which I have to start uploading videos on. Or audio. And BodySlam.net. We'll be back on Tuesday. I work early Tuesday, so I'll be on around maybe 4. And, yeah. So remember, love yourself. Love each other. I can't get this open. And love yourself. All right, guys. I'll see you guys Tuesday.